like you mentioned, Kevin, I mean, at the beginning of this broadcast, those swing matches, are important. That really sets the Hokies up well for the rest of the match.
Well, here's the first of the nationally ranked wrestlers for Virginia Tech at 149. Solomon Cisco went 6th last season. As you see, he's number 4. And Dave, you talked about the new assistants that Tony Roby has brought in. They're both All-American Olympic wrestlers at this weight class, and Cisco's only going to get better because of those two guys.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got a guy like Jared Frere, who's an Olympian, 2-time All-American, has just a ton of experience as a coach, really involved with the guys. Then you got, Frank Molinaro. Obviously, we can go into his, he's 4-time All-American, national champion, Olympian. The list goes on and on. Then you got Tyler Graff coming in, who was a 4-time All-American for Wisconsin. I mean, competing internationally now. And, it's just, and let's not forget everyone's favorite Hokie Ty Walls is still around. So, Tony just did a really, really good job this offseason of staffing up. And, Solomon and a lot of these other guys in the lineup are just going to only get better because of the quality of the staff that's in the room.
It's be nice for Cisco to learn from 2 big-time names at 149. Comes in 4th ranked in the nation, and he's going up against a redshirt freshman, Requir Vandermeer from New Jersey, originally born in South Africa. Welcome to your first official match, Mr. Vandermeer, going up against Cisco.
Absolutely, it's a tough test, but if you're a young guy and you need to prove yourself against the best guys, and if you're going to be the best, you got to wrestle against the best. You got to beat the best. So it's a good opportunity for him to take advantage of coming across the country and wrestling a guy like Solomon. But this guy's he isn't new to big matches. He's from Blair. I mean, he's another one of those storied programs. So he's been in big matches before and wrestled tough guys before.
Vandermeer was 9-3 at an unattached season during his redshirt year, although he was at 141, so he's gone up a weight class. Coming in here at 149, and was one of 2 redshirt freshmen we would see for Stanford here at this weight class. And a stalemate called, so we'll reset with 1:08 or so to go in the first period.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing about when you're switching weight classes. I mean, it tends to happen. It can happen, especially early on in your career, but you want to get into a weight class and learn that weight class, because it's not going to be the same. You're not going to be the same wrestler at any given weight class. I mean, so it's important to establish that weight class, and then you can really learn how to wrestle at that weight class and not have to start over every year. I get it. I mean, it's a young team, and there's some moving pieces, but if I'm some of these guys, I want to establish myself at that weight class and really build upon it year after year.
Cisco's really done that. And head coach Tony Roby has not shied away from the expectation. He wants Cisco in the NCAA final come the end of the season. That's the expectation for Cisco this year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get a guy who's a 2-time All-American. Wrestling's really, really important to Solomon. I mean, he takes a lot of pride in it. You see it every time he steps out on the mat. It's one of those things where he's got to really push it to the next elite level. And he's got to make the finals and get on top of the podium. And his goal should be nothing short of that.
Scoreless first period for Cisco and Requir Vandermeer, who chooses the bottom here to begin period 2. Cisco winning the ACC title a season ago, went 25-6 overall, and finished 6th in the NCAA to earn his 2nd consecutive All-American honor. He's one of the bell cows that Virginia Tech will have to rely upon, at least early in the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially, when you get some of these young guys in the lineup, they're still getting some experience and, might make some mistakes. You need guys like Solomon Cisco to score bonus points for you. You need to, be able to rely on those kind of guys.
And this is similar to the situation just flipped that we had at 125, where Nordstrom, of course you're trying to win, but if you can stay out of bonus point territory, it's a bonus.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No pun intended, but completely intended.
Absolutely. If you're the underdog in that scenario, you're trying to win. But the coach's perspective in the back of your mind is like, okay, just let's get out of this one without giving up any bonus points. So I mean, I think Coach Borelli's that's what he's probably hoping for. At least in the back of his mind.
Stanford ranked 21st to begin the season. Coach Jason Borelli in his 10th season at the helm of the programs won 91 dual meets. 17 wrestlers have gone to the NCAA championships, a total of 31 times. And he said before the year, this is as high of expectations as he's ever had out on the farm in Palo Alto. They've been there. They've sent a couple guys. They get the at-larges, but they're trying to take the next step out in the Pac-12 this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they're in a position to really make a statement this year at the Pac-12s and at the national level. I mean, obviously they've been recognized as, they're 21st in the country to start the season. So, I mean, it's being recognized that they do have some talent, but they need to develop those young guys, and those young guys need to come out there and prove themselves. And the experienced guys, they got a couple returning All-Americans that they need to set an example that being an All-American is not the goal, that being an All-American is the expectation. And you see that transition here at Virginia Tech over the last 10 years. That's what Coach Borelli needs to establish, is the expectation as All-Americans, and not just lofty goal.
Well, he's getting a great performance from Vandermeer here. He's got the 1-0 lead on the two-time All-American Cisco nearing the end of the second period.
Yeah, like we talked about, I mean, Solomon, he tends to wrestle in a lot of close matches. If I'm Tony Roby, I really want Solomon to start breaking away from some of these guys that are really putting up a lot of points.
That'll be the next step for the redshirt junior. But first of all, he's got to get even or ahead in this match.
Yeah,
if you want to max up that number 4 ranking. Next thing you know, there's only 2 minutes left in this 149 weight class. Hokies leading 7-3 overall.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to get a win here before he can do anything else.
He gets the point from the escape. Riding time not a factor.
And it's really hard to score on Cisco. I mean, he's, he might not be the flashiest guy or put up a bunch of big points, but I mean, he's really hard to score on. I mean, it's, even if the match is close, a lot of times he's not really in any danger. But you never know. You don't want to be in close matches because you never know what can happen. Nice little outside single working up, turning the corner. The Hokie crowd wants to, and they'll get it.
There it is for Cisco, who takes the lead. He lets Vandermeer go.
Quick escape. That's important for Vandermeer if he's wanting to get back into this match. He's down by a point. A little over a minute left. He's never really committed to anything during the match as far as scoring opportunities, but he needs to really start pushing the pace here and getting his tie-ups, getting his motion going.
Final 45 seconds or so. Cisco checking the clock with a 3-2 lead. Been really impressed by the freshman Vandermeer.
Absolutely, Vandermeer's doing a really good job pushing the pace here. Gets a stall warning against Cisco of the Hokies, and
gets the point. So we're tied up 3-3.
There it is.
Out of bounds. Reset with 21 seconds to go. So 3-3 as requir Vandermeer coming in against one of the nationally ranked Virginia Tech wrestlers. As you were charting out this match, you would think this one would have swung towards Tech. But here we are, 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. It's you got a guy from a really good program coming out of high school. These guys can make a name for themselves very quickly if they can pick off a top-ranked guy, returning All-American. He's obviously wrestling them tough, and he's showing that he belongs in big matches.
So refresh us on the overtime rules here as we tie 3-3.
Well, sudden death, first minute, and then it goes to rideouts after that. So it's they're going out to score points quickly here. I mean, Solomon obviously in on a shot.
Hokies looking for two, and they get it. Cisco in overtime. 13 seconds into the extra session. Gets the win for Virginia Tech. Maybe not as easy as anticipated, but Cisco gets the 3 points.
Yeah, and you can see over on the Hokie bench that the coaches aren't necessarily super excited about that win, but at the end of the day, they got the win. Solomon got the win. Was never in really much danger of getting scored on, but at the same time, you never know. I mean, in a close match, anything can happen. So if I'm Tony Roby, I'm wanting Solomon to break the.
Take the win to start the season. So we move on to 157 now. Virginia Tech leading 10-3. Stanford won at 125. The Hokies won 3 straight. And at 157, we see the opposite effect now. A nationally ranked wrestler for Stanford, a redshirt junior Paul Fox in the black. And for Virginia Tech, redshirt junior Ryan Blees has to come in and replace an All-American in Sal Mastriani.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ryan Blees has big shoes to fill. Obviously, he has his hands full today with the returning All-American and Fox. And Fox showing why he's good. He's already in on a shot and getting a takedown.
So Fox with the early takedown. We'll reset. Paul Fox was unseeded in the NCAA tournament and went to All-American, finishing in 7th place. Quite a great run in his sophomore campaign. 20th wrestler in program history to become an All-American for the Cardinal.
And that's just the beautiful thing about this sport is you don't have to have a great year to really put yourself on the map. You can have a so-so year going all the way to the national tournament. If you get on, if you peak at the right time and you get hot at the national tournament, I mean, wrestling, you're evaluated by how you perform at the end of the year. So really, this is all just practice for the end of the year.
Have a stoppage and check of the score. The belts. The teams had the wrong colors on. I was wondering, the original point went up with 2 for green, and Virginia Tech has been green all day. I was very confused for a second. Turns out they're wearing the wrong colors, so the referees
we got it sorted out. You don't see it every day, but hey, it's the first match of the year. There's still
gotta get the kinks out.
Everybody's still working out some kinks.
The good news is that we were able to figure it out. The scoreboard had it right all along, and we could see that it was 2 on. Our graphics folks had it right as well, so we're going to trust them. There's 2 more points for Fox in the takedown. He's built a 4-1 lead here in just over a minute.
You know, Blees is one of those guys that, you know, I was talking to Coach Roby, and he's the hardest working guy in the room. He's one of those guys that you have to, you know, hold back from running 5 miles, you know, on their day off, kind of, you know, one of those kind of guys. Just he's extremely hard worker, but he needs to prove himself on the mat. He's been behind some really good wrestlers. Transferred from Oklahoma State, you know, was behind an All-American there, and was behind, you know, All-American last year with Mastriani. So, you know, it's his first time getting the nod, and you know, he needs to take advantage of it.
Went 12-5 last season, 3-2 in duels, did Blees. And this is a weight class that, again, it's up for competition for Virginia Tech. It may not be Blees all season. There's some other names that you could see moving up to potentially be a part of this weight class.
Yep, absolutely. Like we were talking about, nothing's set in stone. That's why if you're Ryan Blees, really nice shot off of 2-on-1. Another reshot. You know, that's what you want to see. You want to see a couple shots put together, but well defended by Paul Fox.
Our most active first period of the day, for sure. We're approaching the halfway point of this match. Virginia Tech leading 10-3, having taken 3 of the first 4.
You got Blees really stalking Fox, you know, late in the period. But then, you know, Fox is one of those guys that, you know, he could kind of reel you in, bait you in a little bit, get you pushing forward, and then hit a quick shot just like you did with, you know, an outside single.
Coach Roby looking on. He was a head coach at Binghamton prior to coming to Virginia Tech. And he's still looking for his first dual win as a head coach. He rebuilt and restarted that Binghamton program. They went winless in their only year as the head coach for Roby. Came to Virginia Tech and has helped build this program into a perennial national title contender.
Yep, absolutely. When Roby was recruited by Dresser straight out of Binghamton, it was, you know, he had just taken over the program, was just starting to rebuild it. But, you know, Binghamton is actually a really good wrestling program. You know, historically, they've had some good guys coming out of there. But, you know, it's hard to build a program at a place like that compared to a Virginia Tech. They can just throw probably more resources at it, and just a good opportunity for Coach Roby to come over and work with Kevin Dresser. and the rest is history.
So Blees got the escape point to begin the period. Down by a point to the number 9 wrestler in the nation here at 157.
Fox back in here on a shot, trying to finish. Blees doing a good job. Blees coming out the back. Or Fox coming out of the back, excuse me. Fox stepped over the ankle. Now he's just trying to push that leg off the top of his head. He'll want to try to. What he should do is push the knee. There you go. If you push the knee off the top of your head, and then you can kind of square your hips out here. Yeah, exactly. That's going to be 2 points for Fox.
Adds to his lead, 6-3. Matt Sorchinski, you saw him there, our referee today, as Blees gets out.
Blees really needs to get a takedown here. I mean, he's still in this match. I mean, it's been a one-sided match, but he's still only 2 points behind if you don't count riding time. So he's still very much in this match. So he just needs to push the pace and get a takedown here.
A warning on Stanford.
And you can see that's what Fox wants. Blees is pushing forward, and Fox just uses that momentum of Blees and really just hits that really nice outside single. At that point, just too little too late and got the stall call against him, but you can kind of see that's what Fox is really comfortable with.
6-4 the score. Stanford has over a minute of riding time as we approach the end of the second period. At 157. So we'll head to the third period with Fox up 6-4, trying to get Stanford back into this thing. Hokies leading 10-3 overall. Only one bonus point given out. That was at 133 for Dennis Gustafson of Virginia Tech. So Fox chooses down, up by 2.
Yeah, and Blees needs to erase riding time here. We started the period with 1:14 for Fox, and he needs to erase that before he lets him go and starts working.
And he has put it under a minute now. So take away that point for Fox.
At this point, yeah, just needs to let him go and avoid the stall call and start getting to work, trying to get a takedown. Fox in on another shot.
So the escape point for Fox, 7-4.
Fox trying to come out the back. Blees trying to stay heavy. This isn't a bad spot for Fox to be in. You're killing time. You're not really in much danger of getting scored on. Blees is kind of on the defense, and you're down to a minute left in the match. Hokie crowd wants a stalemate here. Now they want.
Hokie faithful looking for a 2 for the takedown.
You're getting a potentially dangerous to, bring him back up to the feet.
So back to even with 49 seconds to go in the third. Fox with a 3-point lead. So Blees looks like he's going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's stalking him, and he's doing a good job of putting pressure on. I think it's a little bit misleading that's what Paul Fox seems like he wants to have happen. But, Blees is, if he can turn the corner here, he can get a takedown. It's going to put us in a pretty interesting spot from a match perspective, but he needs to get 2 takedowns.
And only 15 seconds or so left to do it.
Yeah, Paul Fox is going to come away with a win. Not the prettiest win from his perspective. I mean, I think you can you can kind of see that he's winded. It's the first match of the season. He's coming off getting used to the scale a little bit probably, but he comes away with a win.
So the points go to Fox, and Stanford gets back into the match. 10-6 is our score. We're halfway home in Blacksburg. We've got 165 coming up next, but first, we'll step aside. Hokies on top of the Cardinal 10-6. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. 10-6, Virginia Tech has the lead. Kevin Burke and Dave Maroney with you, and it's been pretty entertaining thus far. And now we're getting into the upper weight classes where Virginia Tech has made their mark year after year, and it's going to go to David McFadden at 165, and you see the accolades for him, and he's going to have the opportunity to get a big win here at 165 for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, obviously, coming in as a freshman, getting that All-American honor, tearing his ACL at the tournament and still wrestling. I mean, it just shows you what kind of guy this is. This guy loves wrestling. He's got a bright future. Obviously, the coaching staff here at Virginia Tech is extremely excited about him. But, coming off a redshirt year, had some success on the freestyle scene. And so I'm sure he's glad to be back in the lineup.
And you can see the knee pad for McFadden. Tore his ACL at the NCAA championships as a freshman, of which he was an All-American that year. Sat out all of last season competitively. And going up against redshirt freshman Brandon Dallavia. First career match, and there's 2 points for McFadden, who got a great round of applause from the Hokie faithful here. Great to see him back competing for the Maroon and Orange.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another one of those guys that you really want to see widen the gap and score a lot of points and get bonus points for you as a team. He's, probably in one of those situations today against Dallavia where he's a young guy. McFadden needs to use this and build his gas tank and get better from this match. So still a little early to decide the match, but if you on paper, McFadden should handle this one. But that's why they actually compete, right? I mean, it's not they don't just use what's on paper.
We've seen it so far today. The matches that have had a highly ranked wrestler have not been as convincing as we would have thought. Connor Schramm got all he wanted from Kevin Nordstrom, and we just saw Paul Fox in a battle with Ryan Blees. McFadden the takedown there, though. One of the most improved guys on the team, according to Coach Roby. Talked about how contagious his attitude and the excitement to be back in the ring is for him. And how it's really just spread throughout the entire squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. And anytime you start the year, and you've had a lot of changes in the off season, and but this is why you do it. You do it to compete. You do it to compete in front of a crowd, and you do it to win. So you can't win if you're not in the season, and a lot of these guys are just excited to be out here and competing.
McFadden out of West Milford, New Jersey. Dallavia, one of 3 freshmen that are competing for this 165 weight class for the Cardinal after Keaton Subject, who we'll see move up in the next weight class. He was at 165 last year, moves up a class, and now it's a question for Jason Borelli.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and like we had mentioned earlier, it's you're kind of shuffling around these weight classes, and Borelli's trying to put the pieces in place and get the chessboard set, if you will. And, I think he feels like he's got that this year where, maybe last year and the last couple of years he hadn't had the right guys at the right spot. But, he's confident going into this year that he feels like he's got as good a chance as he has ever had before heading into this season.
So McFadden in his return, up 4-1 after the first period. Dallavia gets the choice. He'll choose the bottom, trailing by 3. See redshirt freshman Jared Hill at this spot, and also true freshman Dominic Mandarino for Stanford. You'll see them at 165 throughout the year, but today it's Dallavia.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, the Hokie Opens tomorrow. They came all the way across the country. They're going to bring a lot of these guys just to get as many matches as they can and see some good competition. The Hokie Open has been really developed into a really good early year tournament. But McFadden here gets a takedown and working for some near fall points.
Up 6-2, 30 seconds into period 2.
Yeah, McFadden's one of those guys that's really exciting to watch just because he can score, from any position, and he likes to score points. He's one of those guys, and you see it there, gets 2 near fall points. This is one of those guys that just really likes to score points.
and he has almost clinched the riding time. He's been on top most of the match. Nearly 3 minutes of riding time already. So we're approaching major territory for McFadden here in the final minute of period 2.
And I think, McFadden's he's one of those guys that I think is really going to thrive under this new regime with these new coaches. I mean, you got some of that mentality coming from, with Frank Molinaro coming from Penn State, where they just, they let it all out there and they let it fly. They score a lot of points. They're trying to score points. They're trying to have fun. I think McFadden is really going to benefit from having that kind of mentality on the staff, and Molinaro bringing that mentality and some unique mental things from Penn State, and obviously Penn State's the program that it is, because of what they've been able to do mentally, trying to score points, trying to have fun, and you see, some of that contrast maybe a little bit from the the staff that just left Virginia Tech and heading back to Iowa State. A lot of those guys were Iowa Hawkeye guys, and that's just a punch you in the mouth and beat you up for 7 minutes kind of mentality. Some contrasting styles, but both have proven that they can win over time. So it's just interesting to see some kind of new mentality here at Virginia Tech.
You saw Frank Molinaro there, 4-time All-American, wrestled in the Olympics, and he is part of the new staff here in Blacksburg.
McFadden in another really, really good shot and gets a takedown, and he's really trying to push the pace and really trying to score points here.
He's got an 8-point lead now, plus riding time added. So he is in major territory right now, with the Hokies leading 10-6 overall in the match.
If I'm Coach Borelli at Stanford, and I've got a young guy in Dallavia, and you understand the situation. I mean, McFadden's a returning All-American, just an extremely talented individual. You're trying to coach him to be like, hey, this is an opportunity to get better. This is a guy that's really good. There's nothing to lose. Just go out there and wrestle hard. It's just one of those things that's, from a coaching perspective, if you're Stanford, just need to learn from this, use this as a stepping stone and build from it.
Got the escape point. If you factor in riding time, it's still major territory for McFadden trying to get that bonus point. And he gets the takedown. So 12-3 now.
Just under 30 seconds to go here. If I'm McFadden, I'm wanting to let him go and get another takedown. But yeah, and that's what he's going to do. Try to push the pace.
That's the difference you're talking about versus trying to get points versus trying to maul you in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 30 seconds left, and he's up by 10. You can finish out the match on top. But McFadden's just got that mindset, and he gets another takedown. He's just trying to score points, and he's having fun doing it.
And he wins going away. 15-4 for McFadden. Quite the triumphant return for a guy that tore his knee in the NCAA championships, had to sit out last season. A highly anticipated time for McFadden.